On this Friday night, keeping watch on a dangerous triple threat in British Columbia: fire, smoke, and wind. We'll take you to the hottest spots across a province, dotted with evacuation orders and alerts. Even people as far away as Ontario might feel the effects. Also tonight, the fashion industry's most important month features an unprecedented look. Black women seize the power of the September covers, smashing myths about who can sell and pushing diversity as more than just a slogan. This is The National. The fires are insatiable, the smoke seems determined to choke half the country, and things could go from bad to worse as huge parts of British Columbia continue to burn. So far, the flames have consumed more than 435,000 hectares of forest. To give you a sense of how big that is, that's almost the size of the entire Metro Vancouver region doubled. There are more than 500 fires burning across the province right now. The biggest is the Shovel Lake fire. It's burning a couple hours' drive west of Prince George, and Prince George itself is where so many evacuees in that region are going. It's taken in about 1,300 people so far, and there may be more to come. Historic Fort St. James is just the latest nearby community under threat, but fires are forcing people from their homes all over the province. Just last night, there was a new evacuation order for people just outside the city of Kimberley in the province's southeast. And folks within the city itself are on alert, bags packed. So, what's it like to be living in one of those fire zones? Anita Bath takes us there.
As if the wildfire danger hasn't felt real enough, people in Prince George woke up to dark skies.
It is pitch black again. It's not nice.
This is 8:40 a.m. as the wind carried in the smoke. 20 minutes later, it's like the sun goes down instead of up. 10 minutes after that, you'd think it's the middle of the night. And then, about an hour and a half later, daylight returns.
So dark, and it was just this ominous dark cloud hanging over the community. It was unbelievable.
It's in part due to the massive Shovel Lake wildfire burning to the west.
Some of the wind in the past few days has actually whipped up pretty good, and you could just imagine how fast the fires travel in the wind.
On the edge of that fire is Fort St. James. The entire town could be forced to leave. It's minute by minute, and supplies are running out.
Run out of sprinklers, getting low on garden hoses. We're low on 20 liter. I got one left of the 20 liter jerry cans, and basically batteries.
Even though the flames are creeping up, Juha Salokanel isn't worried.
House with stucco siding. I've got water all around me. I have fire pumps. I've got my generator hooked up.
The Fort St. James resident says if evacuation alert turns into an order, he's not leaving.
If it comes so fast and we can't get out of here, this is all replaceable. I've got an aluminum boat, and I got 2 oars.
Further southeast, in and around Kimberley, ash from the Meechin fire falls from the sky. As of this morning, almost 8,000 people are on alert.
We're a bit on the anxious side, and we packed like 5 days ago. We just have a couple suitcases back here. We got a couple more in the house that are being packed.
With nearly 600 fires burning across the province, it's likely residents still have weeks of uncertainty ahead. Anita Bath, CBC News, Vancouver.
Now, we've all seen pictures and video of the fires, but what's it like to actually face one? Well, James Stump is a logger who was working close to the massive Shovel Lake fire when he became a witness to its destructive power.
If the wind was coming at us, we'd already be screwed.
It was kind of surreal because we're not allowed to have campfires, and it felt like a giant campfire all around us. You'd get flare-ups up the trees, and then it would candle on the top, and it sounded like a freight train, and the heat would get very intense. And I was at the very edge of the leading edge of the eastern portion of that Shovel Lake fire, and where it was, the wind had changed direction, and it was actually blowing itself back into what it had already burnt. You get out and you breathe that, and it's hard on the lungs. I've seen that fire travel 13 kilometers, watching it on the map, and one day it traveled 13 kilometers. So good heavy wind, and it's going to wipe out a lot of people's properties back there.
It's a pretty frightening picture he paints. And it's not just the flames that are making people afraid. The overwhelming clouds of smoke are gigantic, increasingly dangerous, and constantly on the move.
Even my dog, he doesn't even want to come out. And
Smart dog. Forest fire smoke is full of toxic particulate matter called black carbon, which can be really bad for you, deadly even with too much exposure. And just look at how much black carbon NASA has identified over Western Canada. It's not just British Columbians at risk. The smoke has blanketed vast parts of Alberta to pretty eerie effect. This video is from Edmonton, taken a couple days ago at 10 in the morning. Kind of looks like a scene from a Terminator movie, the end of the world. And Calgary, too, has struggled in the dark. So where's that haze going now? Well, Blue Sky Canada is a collaborative effort between BC and Alberta that tracks all of this. Its smoke forecast points east, as far as Ontario, thousands of kilometers away. But perhaps the best perspective is from way up. All that smoke is clearly visible from space. In the middle of this cloud cover, you can see it, a large gray mass, always moving. In a sense, the smoke is becoming its own kind of weather, something our staff meteorologist, Johanna Wagstaff, is now experiencing firsthand. She drove through that smoke on her way back to Vancouver from 100 Mile House today, and she took a moment to pull over and tell us what that was like.
Here in Hope Slide, visibility has actually improved somewhat today, but if you look off to the distance down the Fraser Canyon, the mountain's still shrouded in smoke. Back up towards 100 Mile House, where I drove down from this morning, visibility was at its worst yet, waking up to that thick smell of smoke in the air, and visibility was down less than a few hundred meters, I should say, all the way to the Fraser Canyon. That's where we're getting some winds helping to mix things out. The smoke, though, in the communities actually helping to inhibit temperatures, and that at least means we're not getting the thunderstorm develop in the afternoon, which is some good news, but this general west to east flow across the province is advancing some fires eastward. High pressure for the rest of the week means hot, dry, and smoky. Johanna Wagstaff, CBC News, Hope Slide.
Tough conditions, no matter how you slice it. Okay, here's what else we're working on tonight on The National. Can extreme carb-free dieting take years off your life? If you've ever gone on Atkins or South Beach or anything similar, Christine Birak will have details of a new study you will not want to miss. Also, a moment that some hope will spark a movement. Black women will be front and center this coming September on magazine covers everywhere. But first, it's been a week since the deadly shooting in Fredericton took 4 lives. And tonight, we are learning more about the man who was arrested. We're also able to share new details about what exactly happened that day. The CBC's Kayla Hounsell has been following this story for us in Fredericton, and she joins us now. So, Kayla, let's start with the suspect. What more do we know about him?
Well, Andrew, our colleagues at CBC New Brunswick have found Matthew Raymond was active on Twitter for about 4 years using the name Colt C8. And that's the name of a powerful military-style carbine. About 4 years ago, when 3 RCMP officers were shot and killed in Moncton, he tweeted back at someone who had said that the suspect's name should not be trending on Twitter, agreeing with that sentiment and calling the events a sad couple of days. We've also found an account on an online platform for purchasing digital video games that shows that he played at least 479 hours of a first-person shooter game over about 5 years. Now, that same account states that as of April 17th, he has been offline, which is around the same time he reportedly moved out of his mother's home and into this apartment complex here behind me, which is where the deadly attack took place.
And Kayla, we're also learning more about exactly how this tragedy unfolded from court documents. Can you tell us about that?
Well, these court documents were publicly available and obtained by the CBC from the Fredericton Provincial Courthouse, and then they were placed under a publication ban. So the CBC went to court along with other media outlets and argued against that. And today, a New Brunswick judge lifted that order, giving us a much more detailed timeline of how this tragedy unfolded. Constables Rob Costello and Sarah Burns are the first to respond to the call. They're followed closely by Sergeant Jason Forward, who stopped briefly to ask a passerby some questions. Costello and Burns went into a driveway by Building C. That's where the suspect lived. When Forward heard the gunshots, he rounded the corner and saw Costello and Burns lying motionless on the ground. Another man, Donnie Robichaud, was lying nearby. The gunfire was coming from apartment 11 on the top floor, so Forward and another officer headed there. Joy Sullivan lives on the top floor.
Knock, knock, knock. I run, looked out my peephole. I saw the two men on knees with their guns toward door 11. I run like mad back to get dressed. And while I was in there, my door was busted open by another policeman.
Another officer outside the building saw the gunman point a long gun out the window and fired at him. The shooter is hit in the stomach.
These two guys get up off of their one knee and never turned their head away from that door 11. Their guns right on them. I'm ready to be with the other policeman escorted out. They went trot, trot, trot backwards, the two of them with their shoulders right together to protect me. They're all shielded in the front, but they never turned their head around. I could just see from the little bit on the side. And they trot, 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 the two of them sideways while I'm bent over, and the other cop is holding that door open and registered. There's a senior coming down, and that's how they protected me going out.
Matthew Raymond was arrested just after 9:30. He was taken to hospital with serious injuries.
Wow, and so Kayla, looking forward, there are big preparations underway ahead of a regimental funeral for the fallen officers. Can you tell us what's going to happen tomorrow?
Andrew, thousands of emergency responders from across North America are expected to attend this regimental funeral. It will not be open to the public because the arena where it is to be held can only hold around 4,300 people. So organizers say, of course, the priority is the families of the fallen officers, as well as the Fredericton Police Force and other law enforcement personnel. They're actually arriving at the Fredericton Airport today, and local residents here are actually showing up to offer them rides anywhere they wanted to go.
There's so many people that want to help. Those that have a connection to the two fallen officers, and those that have just the connection to the city. So it's one of these things that just snowballs. So we do what everyone does in 2018. You put it out on social media and see what happened. And it's floodgates just opened up almost immediately.
So certainly an entire city grieving here in Fredericton, Andrew, and Fredericton police say they want people to help celebrate the lives of their officers, so there will be public viewing areas, and they're also inviting people to line the parade route for the procession tomorrow as officers march to the arena.
Okay, Kayla Hounsell in Fredericton, thanks for this. CBC News will broadcast tomorrow's funeral procession and service from noon until about 2 p.m. That's on both CBC News Network and the main network. There will also be extensive coverage on CBC Radio and online at cbc.ca, on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Okay, some of the other stories we're tracking live tonight include security concerns at the trial of President Donald Trump's former campaign chair, Paul Manafort. The judge assigned to the case says he's received threats. They stepped up security at the Virginia courtroom today. As jurors deliberated for a second day, the judge is now under the protection of U.S. Marshals, and he says he won't release jurors' names to the public, as he fears for their safety, too. Manafort is facing 18 charges, including bank and tax fraud. Jury deliberations resume Monday. Just over a week after parts of Toronto were submerged in floodwater, today it happened again. This was the scene inside Union Station after a heavy downpour sent water gushing from the ceiling. Environment Canada had issued a warning for the area, saying some parts could see more than 50 millimeters of rain. And a self-described anti-colonial group is claiming responsibility tonight for defacing a statue of Sir John A. Macdonald in Montreal. It's the third time the statue's been vandalized, and it comes as the debate continues over how to mark Macdonald's legacy, given his role in creating Canada's residential school system. The group behind the spray painting says it wants the statue gone. In the world of fashion, the September issue sets the tone. It marks the beginning of a new season, a chance for designers to unveil their latest collections. And those who grace the covers are elevated to style icons. But looking at last year's, at least one thing really stands out. They're almost all white women. But not this year. Black women are dominating the September issues, front and center as today's most sought-after actresses, comedians, musicians, and models. And as Tashana Reed shows us, they may also be the publishing industry's best hope at keeping fashion magazines afloat.
She's the face of September, Beyoncé for Vogue magazine. The star given full creative control, and it's the first Vogue cover to be shot by an African-American photographer. Then there's Rihanna, the first Black woman to be on British Vogue's September cover in the magazine's 102-year history.
Honestly, I'm so honored to do it.
Oh, I was like, my first September, who?
I couldn't believe it. I just didn't expect it to be September.
Add Zendaya, Lupita, Tiffany, Tracy. The list goes on. This year, Fashion Magazine's most sought-after issue features prominent and influential Black women. In her own cover story, Beyoncé recounts the long journey it took to get here. When I first started 21 years ago, I was told that it was hard for me to get onto covers of magazines because Black people did not sell. Clearly, that has been proven a myth.
I think the magazine industry is...
Marketing analysts say magazines have to evolve or get left behind.
It used to be that white women with blonde hair and blue eyes were seen to sell more magazines. The fact of the matter is, from a cultural standpoint, I believe that these African-American women are the women who are movers and shakers and driving culture across the world.
It's just a really serendipitous moment happening right now, and we are so thrilled to be part of what feels like a celebration. Yeah, this was one of her favorite.
At the offices of Elle Canada, its September cover girl, Tracy Ellis Ross, is on full display. Editor-in-chief Vanessa Kraft says their decision was a no-brainer.
First of all, Tracy is intelligent, successful, so savvy on social media, an activist, and an incredible style icon. So she's already an Elle girl.
That aside, diversity sells. Of Elle Canada's latest 12 issues, half are women of color.
We put Priyanka Chopra, South Asian woman, on our cover, our May cover, and she sold 20% more than our cover from the year before. So I think it's about giving the opportunity to share different stories and see what happens.
But it's also about an industry fighting to stay relevant. As the internet gobbles up advertising dollars, magazines are feeling it. Issues are getting skinnier, and publishers are being forced to sell titles that were once mainstays on newsstands.
I don't know how many print editions you'll see in 10 years. I think it's going to go largely digital. But I still believe in brands. I believe in the health of brands. And also, I think, unique perspectives, no matter where they come from, are going to win no matter what.
Canadian model Lana Ogilvie has been on her share of covers. She was the first Black woman to sign a contract with CoverGirl and says it's obvious magazines need to reflect the world we live in.
Do I think it'll help them sell magazines? Absolutely. I mean, the world is changing. Magazine companies need to wake up and see that there's it's a diverse country we live in. And if you want to sell, you need to represent the people who you want to buy your product.
While this September represents change, the big question, will that change continue in the months and issues ahead? Tashana Reed, CBC News, Toronto.
As Tashana mentioned, this Vogue cover is especially remarkable, not just because Beyoncé had free rein to do what she wanted, but because of who she trusted to be behind the lens. 23-year-old Tyler Mitchell, fresh out of school, is the first Black photographer to shoot a cover for Vogue. But he's no amateur, having shot for brands like Marc Jacobs and Converse. He also worked with Parkland School shooting survivors for a cover of Teen Vogue. So when the magazine got word that Beyoncé wanted a Black photographer, they suggested Mitchell, and Beyoncé was right on board. It's important to me that I help open doors for younger artists, she writes in the magazine. There are so many cultural and societal barriers to entry that I like to do what I can to level the playing field. So, what was it like for the 23-year-old? Well, Mitchell says you'd imagine someone as famous as Beyoncé to be protective of her image, but she was really an open book, and that's exactly what you want as a photographer. Still, he tweeted yesterday he didn't quite believe it until the finished product was right in his hands. You can take a closer look at the September covers on our Instagram page. Give Give us a follow at CBC The National. And still ahead on the program, for as long as I can remember, people have been swearing by going carb-free as one way of shaving inches off the old waistline, but does it also shave years off your lifespan? Plus, in our special CBC Short Doc, we bring you a powerful film about the devastation of gun violence. You're going to meet a Toronto mother who lost all 3 of her children to it. Plus, a Canadian Little Leaguer steps up to the plate tonight in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. The beginning of the World Series tournament is the end of a long road for him. You'll see why in our moment of the day.
Here's Diogama, who made it here today. That one on the ground, and that will get through. Base hit to score the first run for Canada. And think about that. The kid who did not think.
If you want to see some of the weirdest abstract works of American art, you can come visit a national gallery like this one in Washington, or just check out a congressional district map. This one's been dubbed the praying mantis. This one looks like Goofy kicking Donald Duck. And look at this beauty, an upside-down elephant maybe? These are the results of gerrymandering, the process by which crafty politicians redraw election maps with one goal, to skew voting lines to favor their own party. So how does gerrymandering game the political system? Let's go back to 1812, when Massachusetts Governor Elbridge Gerry, spelled like Jerry, approved a district map so misshapen it looked like a salamander. Map drawers use 2 main tricks to skew outcomes. There's packing and there's cracking. When packing, they cram the rival party's voters into as few districts as they can. When cracking, they scatter opposing voters widely across multiple districts. With just the slimmest margin required for victory, the party that controls the maps can win lots of districts by just 1 or 2%. Imagine 100 voters with a 60-40 split between the yellow and orange parties. You'd think there should be more yellow seats, but it depends on how you carve out the 5 districts. Here's what perfect representation looks like. Divide it another way and you get this. Now here's what happens when you gerrymander the heck out of this map. Redistricting happens every 10 years due to shifting populations. And critics say manipulating the shapes of districts harms democracy. But make no mistake, both parties do it. In the 1980s, the Democrats drew such crazy maps that Congressman Philip Burton joked it was his contribution to modern art. In 2010, Republicans basically turned this art into an exact science using advanced mapping software.
Rice, pasta, potatoes, they are dietary staples for sure, but for a long time they've been getting kind of a bad rap, especially when it comes to weight loss. From Atkins to keto, plenty of people swear by a low-carb diet. But according to a new study, it may actually shorten your life. Now, the study looked at more than 15,000 people. Researchers found that people who ate mostly carbohydrates lived to about 82 years old. Those who ate a moderate amount, that's about half their caloric intake, lived about a year longer. But those who adhered to a low-carb diet died earlier, at about 79 years old. So, what's the link? Christine Birak takes a closer look.
It is the diet that can work when nothing else will.
It's certainly a blow to the cult of popular low-carb diets, and there have been many. Ketogenic, or keto, is the big one lately.
Among the proven health benefits of this diet are weight loss, mental focus, increased energy, controlled blood sugar.
But a large observational study followed people for 25 years and found cutting all those carbohydrates can actually reduce your life expectancy by up to 4 years because most people replace carbs with protein and fat from animals.
So often we get excited, oh, I've removed a bag of chips from my diet, or I've removed a soft drink from my diet. And this study, I think, did a great job of really reminding people that it's not just what you remove, but it's what you replace it with that matters.
On the upside, the study found people could live longer if they replaced some carbs with protein and fat from plants instead, eating more vegetables, nuts, and legumes, including beans, chickpeas, and lentils.
It's a good example of a nutrition study that's not coming out and saying, oh, we've been wrong for 20 years. It's suggesting that the current policies are in line.
In other words, if half your calories come from carbohydrates, it's fine. Everything in moderation. Sounds simple, but it really isn't. Doctors say too often the struggle to lose weight is fed by social stigma and bias, not health. Fad diets offer thin hope, not lasting change.
What we tell patients here is that I'd rather they make small changes that they build upon rather than big flying leaps of change, but that whatever changes they make, they're going to need to keep them up. And if they're going to have to keep them up, they better like them.
His best advice? Cook your own food, drink less, and exercise more. It's cheap, just not easy. Christine Birak, CBC News, Toronto.
Not easy, for sure. Still ahead on The National, new details tonight about the funeral and public viewing scheduled for Aretha Franklin. We'll also show you the scene outside Hitsville, USA, where the music plays on. But first, the legacy of a soldier who advocated for veterans of the Korean War and the unlikely memento left behind for his family.
What's it mean to have that piece of metal now?
Everything.
Why?
Because it's from Roy.
For this entire century, female players have struggled for acceptance, for funding, for recognition, for ice time. Team Canada represents the culmination of that struggle. But the stakes for these women are very high. Not only are they expected to bring back gold, but the whole future of women's hockey may depend on their success.
It's gonna be history. It's history.
For St. Louis, it's history. For others, it's a future. The enrollment of girls into hockey has grown exponentially in recent years. Now, with an Olympic team, the Canadian Hockey Association expects 100,000 Canadian girls will soon be playing. These girls memorize the names of the women's Team Canada. The Olympic players are their heroes.
We played against boys, and it wasn't all that challenging. It wasn't challenging.
How come it wasn't challenging playing against the boys?
It was just too easy for them.
Taryn, Brenna, and Marika play for an all-girls hockey team. Until recently, they had to play with boys. Now they play against them.
When you're a girl on a boys' team, they kind of tease you and don't think you're good enough, so they don't pass to you, and they don't really believe you're a part of the team.
When you're on a girls' team, we're all the same, and there's no better people and stuff like that.
Do boys play differently then?
Yeah, they're a lot rougher than us.
So how can you beat them then?
Well, our coach tells us to be aggressive. Just because they're bigger and tougher than us, doesn't mean we can't skate as well as them.
Come on, girls! Power! Get down in your skates! Let's see those sticks down. Down and up, down and up. That's it.
The Ridgewood Redbats all-girls team is a breakthrough in Calgary hockey. Their coach, Lynn Leal, is trying to give them what she never had.
Good shot, Brittany. Let it go, Tara. Well done.
If you ask any one of the girls that I coach, what do you want to be when you grow up? And if they say a hockey player, they really, truly can be a hockey player. When I was 9 years old, it was a dream. People would ask me, what are you going to do when you grow up? And I said, I'm going to be a hockey player. But that was a fantasy. Now it's a dream that they can live. They can see it through. And that is just, for me, personally, it means so much just to see these girls involved in a game that they can actually take somewhere if they want to.
How big is this for women's hockey, the Olympic Games?
It's huge. I think it's just going to build from here now that we're together.
I think the game can be taken seriously now. And everything.
So what usually follows success? Money, of course. The world of commerce has already figured out these women are highly marketable. Esso, Air Canada, the Royal Bank. Corporations know these fresh faces will bring a whole new market to hockey.
Women's sports, and in Canada's case, women's hockey is sort of a sleeping giant. And advertisers are waking up quicker than, say, the media or even some of the national sports organizations. The idea behind this is to bring players into your living room.
Elizabeth A2 is creating the first magazine in the world dedicated to female hockey.
Tonight on The National, things are getting worse in southern India. At least 324 people are dead and hundreds of thousands of others are now homeless after the worst flooding in decades. Many of the victims were killed by landslides triggered by days of heavy rain. A massive rescue operation is now underway for those who are trapped, but the warning's out there. More heavy rain is coming and the conditions are difficult. An emotional day in Italy as 4 friends killed in this week's Genoa bridge collapse were laid to rest. But their families decided to boycott tomorrow's state funeral, saying it was negligence that caused that bridge to collapse. According to Italian media, only 14 of the 38 known victims will be laid to rest in tomorrow's service. Meanwhile, crews in Genoa are still searching the site of that collapse. Officials say 5 people may still be missing. We are watching for updates from Costa Rica this hour after a powerful 6.0 magnitude earthquake. It struck in the southern part of the country near the Panama border. This was also a shallow earthquake, according to the USGS, about 19 kilometers down, which makes it a more destructive earthquake. Fortunately, at this point, no reports of serious injuries or damage. Meanwhile, authorities in Chile say they've figured out who called in the bomb threats that disrupted 9 flights yesterday in South America. They say it was a 29-year-old man who apparently was upset after an airline failed to return his suitcase. He was arrested today and taken in for questioning. A lawyer for the suspect says he denies making the calls.
He was a soldier, for sure.
We want to tell you the story now of a Canadian veteran who fought in both the Second World War and the Korean conflict. Roy Rushton died recently. He was 100. A memorial service will be held tomorrow in Pictou, Nova Scotia. And along with his many war stories, Rushton leaves behind a special souvenir he carried inside him for decades. Tom Murphy explains.
Interesting piece, for sure.
Sometimes it's the most unlikely of mementos that mean so much.
How many people have one of that?
For the Rushton family, it's this, a tiny piece of metal long embedded in the leg of Canadian war veteran Roy Rushton.
Pretty tough guy, I would say.
For fear of health complications, it was never removed. That is, until his death, when his wife Margaret requested it be.
It's a souvenir piece of him, like.
You see, Roy Rushton carried the scars of some of the most notorious battles.
This knife on my belt, we were all issued with that. It was called a killing knife. And some of them wore them on their thigh.
A paratrooper in Normandy, he was wounded on the eve of D-Day. Later, he fought in the Battle of the Bulge. And then he dropped in behind enemy lines in the invasion of Germany, where he took a bullet to the leg.
He was an amazing soldier. Not many men are made of that type of material, you may say, and yeah, he was a soldier, for sure.
Years after that war, he left the keys to the country store he ran in Pictou County, Nova Scotia, to his mother. Rushton had signed up again, this time to fight in the Korean War.
They often thought of him as a father figure. When my father was leading them into the battle, they were quite comfortable with him. The men truly trusted him, and they felt at ease. Even the Korean people that were there, little boys that were being attacked and murdered, he took them under their wing.
And still, on his return from the Korean War, he didn't give up the fight, this time pushing Ottawa for proper recognition of Korean war vets.
It took 45 years to even get a service pin to recognize the fact that we served in Korea.
Along the way, he inspired his own son to enlist, and as fate would have it, serve in the same battalion his father did years earlier.
They came up to me and said, Rushton, 2 PPCLI. And immediately I got on the phone that evening. I told him, I said, you'll never guess what. I'm going to your battalion.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Big deal for you.
It was, yeah.
Roy Rushton died earlier this spring at the age of 100, but not before making a full recovery from a broken back and a hip late in life, a fighter to the end. His family has his medals to prove Roy Rushton was a hero. His cremated ashes are never far from his wife's side.
That would hurt.
And now there's that tiny piece of steel that pained Rushton for 74 years. A piece of German shrapnel from Normandy, it turns out, that has come to symbolize so much more.
Bravery, mainly bravery.
What's it mean to have that piece of metal now?
Everything.
Why?
Because it's from Roy.
A husband, father, soldier, whose life of adventure they'll never forget. Tom Murphy, CBC News, Westville, Nova Scotia.
Okay, a play about a disabled Canadian veteran debuts tonight at the Edmonton Fringe Festival. And just ahead, how finding an actor to play the lead took some inspired casting.
I've never been to war and I can't play that, but I can play this person. And so I look at the experiences that he talks about from his time in Afghanistan and then try to do that story justice.
That's coming up. But first, always worth a reminder, The National Today takes you inside our journalism every afternoon. It'll take you deeper on the top stories and also highlight some of the stories you may have missed. This is our newsletter. Today, a new report on American CEOs says their average compensation rocketed up 17% last year. So we looked at Canadian CEOs who aren't doing too bad either. Subscribe to our newsletter at cbcnews.ca/thenational.
What does it feel like to be on marijuana?
It's almost like being intoxicated. You feel, mellow, laid back. You feel, you could get dizzy and stuff like that.
How old do you have to be to start smoking weed and stuff like that?
You'd have to be 18 years of age.
Is it more dangerous to drive drunk or drive high?
If you're impaired and it's affecting your driving, it would be the exact same.
Can you overdose on marijuana?
In order to overdose, you would have to smoke or take in a crazy amount of marijuana. It's almost impossible to overdose on marijuana.
If you're babysitting and there's weed on the counter and that kid eats it, do you think it's an emergency?
Yes, for sure.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you.
So if you actually see that, then I would call 911. It's best to get the emergency there. I'm not saying they're gonna die or anything, I don't know that, but I would definitely call 911 just to be on the safe side.
What's the difference between THC? What's the difference between THC and CBD?
THC would get a person high. THC has, it's usually by percentage, and the higher the THC level in the cannabis, the quicker and the faster you would get high. CBD does not show any signs that it would give make a person high or whatever. It actually could lower and block the THC level in the marijuana.
Can it give you a disease or something?
Cannabis can still have the same effects that cigarettes and tobacco have on a person. The more you use it, the higher chance you could get cancer or other diseases from that. The truth. Just always tell them the truth. Don't ever try to hide something, and sit down talk with them and share with them what your beliefs are. Tell them to get the facts as much as you can and make the right choices.
There is no words. One minute they're here fine, next minute they're not. So my life was like so empty, like there was so much things missing.
A grieving mother touched by gun violence again and again. All 3 of her children were killed in 3 separate and unrelated shootings. It is beyond imagination how Carol Roach must have made sense of any of that. The lives, the relationships cut short, how to carry on. Well, tonight on The National, we bring you her story and her reflections in a CBC short doc called Walk Good.
As a parent, you intend to love hard. They grow in your stomach for 9 months. You give birth to them. You love them, you care for them. You teach them, you nurse them, you guide them. And I've done that with all 3 of my children. I want to have other people take them away from me. That night, I was having difficulty sleeping. That was her first time out to a party. A friend of Crystal that she was with called me and said, something happened to Chrissy. I couldn't get to see her because she was shot in her head. She got a bullet in her head. So I didn't believe it at first, even though it's been told to me. I just kept saying, no, that can't be real. No, it can't be real. I must have asked him about 30 times if he's sure. A few days after, then I had to go, like, finally have a look at her. You know, seeing her all wrapped up, only her face is showing. So she's wrapped from head to toe, because it's a head wound, so they cover all things and just show her face. Her pretty face. It was very hard to leave. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm leaving her. Crystal's siblings, they were so devastating. They were so distraught. It was hard to see them suffering, and I can't do anything about it. You know, we would talk about it, or we would cry together. I mean, they were kids, and how does kids really deal with a sibling that they born and grow with and see every day of their life? And then now that was like ripped away from, it's like ripping out someone's heart. I know I keep a lot of my emotion inside, but I think for me, that's the best way I know how to handle my situation. Yannick was very smart for his age. As a child, every car that passed can tell you what type, what model, what year. So he was very wise. I got a phone call that Yannick was shot. So when they let me into the hospital room where he was already dead. He was already dead. They said he died instantly. Couldn't believe his lifeless body just laying there. And then my third son, Jamal, it was just very hard for him emotionally, very, very hard for him. He was lonely. He would look at me and say, Mom, we don't have a big family anymore. It's just you and me now. So I always say to him, promise you'll never leave me. He He always believed that he was going to die when he reached 18 as well. So he deliberately just never celebrated a birthday after that. I mean, can you imagine being a kid and have that weight on your shoulders, thinking that you're going to die, going through life, going to school, playing with your friends or what have you, but have this burden on your shoulders, thinking that you're going to die just like your siblings when you reach 18. That's a heavy weight for any child to carry. My relationship with Jamal was very, very special. We have a bond so great as mother and son. I think because I had more time with him, we never end a conversation without saying, I love you. He had come and spent the whole entire day with me. I cooked dinner for both of us. Mashed potato with gravy and barbecue chicken, one of his favorites. He was enjoying it so much. He was like, Mom, I love when you cook. It was time for him to leave. Then I watched him go down the hallway to the stairs where he exited out to go to catch the bus. My last words to Jamal was to walk good and that I love you. My door knocked and it was a detective. And he said, Jamal was killed last night at 11:30. And the police already identified him, so I didn't get to see him till after, when the funeral home received him from the coroner. Only 5 minutes though, because they have to put him on ice. So I hugged him and kissed him and told him not to worry. He'll be fine. I surprise myself sometimes the way I bear these things and go on with life and not break. At times I don't even know who to mourn for or how to feel. You never get over a situation like this where all three of your kids have been gunned down. You can never get over something like this, but you can get through it. I'll always carry these feelings and these memories of my children, Crystal, Yannick, and Jamal.
What you just saw was a shortened version of Walk Good. To watch the full film, head on over to cbc.ca/shortdocs. There you'll also find more documentaries by emerging filmmakers from right across Canada.
It's the modern symbol of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender movement. A colorful flag with every shade in the rainbow. There have been other symbols historically linked with the gay community, like the Greek letter lambda, used in science to show kinetic potential, and the pink triangle, imposed by the Nazis to identify gay men during the Holocaust. In the 1970s, a San Francisco artist named Gilbert Baker answered the call for a new and joyful symbol. He got together with friends at a community center where they hand-stitched and hand-dyed the very first rainbow flag in 1978. The original flag had 8 colors, each with a meaning. Pink for sex, red for life, orange for healing, yellow for sunlight, green for nature, turquoise for magic, blue for serenity, and purple for spirit. As the flag became more popular, it went into mass production. Pink and turquoise were dropped because those colors and dyes were not common in the flag world. Gilbert Baker died in 2017, but his legacy is now flying around the world, a symbol of pride, community, and freedom. Neil Herland, CBC News, Toronto.
Sometimes war can leave scars that are quite visible. And for some of those soldiers, the real battle can begin at home. It can be difficult and a dramatic thing to live with. And it is with that thought tonight, a new play debuts at the Edmonton Fringe Festival titled Walk. It's loosely based on the life of a Canadian Forces medic who lost both his legs in Afghanistan. For the playwright, finding the inspiration was easy, but finding a lead actor was not. The CBC's Rafi Boudjikanian got behind the scenes as Walk came together.
Here, let me go to the nurse's station and get some help.
It's okay. Just give me a minute. It's the stump. It's not sitting in the leg well.
Look closely at this rehearsal and you'll notice despite the play being a piece of fiction, there is something very real here. The amputee soldier played by an amputee actor. Playwright Leanne Folder wrote the script after being inspired by Paul Franklin, a Canadian Forces vet who lost his legs in a suicide bombing in Afghanistan. Folder wrote a book about him, but the story stayed with her.
Nobody goes to Afghanistan and thinks, as a soldier, and thinks, I'm going to be the guy that comes back with no legs. People don't expect that to happen to them. Nobody expects that to happen to your husband and to your father.
It took years, but writing was the easy part. Finding a double amputee for the lead role was a challenge.
And I'm lying on the table, I'm looking up, I'm like, oh my God, like they're gonna cut me open again.
Enter Christian Zip. The drama teacher lost his legs to meningitis. He wanted to play Will, Falder's amputee soldier.
I don't know that I've really seen a real presence of a show like that that kind of focuses on somebody who's dealing with that issue of being an amputee.
But he ultimately declined due to a scheduling conflict. The search went on, ending with a bit of a plot twist.
And here's my problem is I only have one leg. My left leg is fake. It's just made of metal and sadness.
Stand-up comedian Ben Prue. He lost one leg as a child. He didn't have much acting experience, but a rewrite and a military haircut later, he's ready to sink his teeth into more serious material.
I've never been to war and I can't play that, but I can play this person. And so I look at the experiences that he talks about from his time in Afghanistan and then try to do that story justice.
As Walk gears up for prime time, that's a message Folder wants audiences to hear as well.
I hope that people will see, what happens to soldiers when they come home from war, but I also just hope that people will see what it's like for a family to have to go through something really difficult and to wrestle through it together.
Folder will know soon enough. Practice is done now. Cast and crew leaving this makeshift stage behind to get to the Edmonton Fringe Festival, crossing their fingers the work will live on beyond this one set of curtain calls. Rafi Boudjikanian, CBC News, Edmonton.
And more still to come on the program, but one note before we go to break, tributes from around the world continue to pour in for Aretha Franklin. And tonight there are more details about the plan for a final goodbye. There will be a 4-day celebration of her life in her hometown of Detroit. A private funeral will be held August 31st, but before that, her body will lie in repose for 2 days at the African American Museum. It'll be open to the public. Organizers are also working on a musical tribute that will include major stars. And Detroit's Diana Hawkins may not be one of them, but today she showed us she sure is an Aretha fan.
On a street where there are more marijuana cafes than ones that sell coffee,
gotta find what you like.
It's not surprising the idea of legalizing pot is an easy sell.
It's actually happening. There's nothing you can really do to control it, and you're gonna still go back and do it anyways. So why not legalize it?
That's the question a very unlikely source is also asking. In his report on BC's marijuana industry, this economics professor says by legalizing, then taxing pot, cash-strapped governments could collect an extra $2 billion a year. The report was funded by the very conservative Fraser Institute.
Who's going to get the spoil? Since we know it's out there already, the question is, to whom should the revenue go? Should the revenue go to people who you really may not like, organized crime in all its guises, or perhaps should we have, as society, have more access to that revenue to perhaps undo some of the harms that we think it may do?
But try selling that idea to government. BC Solicitor General says any gains made by taxing pot would be lost in trade with the U.S.
They have always made it pretty clear that even the issue of decriminalization, which was being looked at last fall by the federal government, would tighten up the borders and affect trade between the two countries.
There are an estimated 17,000 grow-ops in BC alone, tens of thousands more in the rest of the country. But police say legalization wouldn't lighten their load, it would just cause more problems.
The Fraser report talks about regulation. Who's responsible for that? More and more, who is? Like, does anybody know? I don't. That report didn't talk about that. How do you get that taxes in there? Who's going to be responsible for collecting those taxes?
Easton's report doesn't address the health or social concerns of legalization. His findings are limited to the bottom line. Just after the report's release, though, the Fraser Institute took pains to point out its own bottom line, saying it doesn't necessarily agree with the report's findings. Rosa Marcatelli, CBC News, Vancouver.
The Little League World Series started today in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and Team Canada almost had to play without its star player. 13-year-old slugger Dio Gama had been told he couldn't travel to the U.S., but a last-minute intervention from the government allowed him to make the trip, so young Dio played tonight, and that is our moment.
Here is Dio Gama, who made it here today. Missed our open. Dio, 13 years old. That one on the ground.
Not only was he there, he knocked in the first run of the game for Canada.
The kid who did not think he was going to be here. His first.
Up until Wednesday, it looked as if Dio wouldn't be able to play at all. His parents have been seeking refugee status in Canada for more than 10 years. And with their case in legal limbo, Dio was told if he left the country, he might not be allowed back in.
Strike three!
So winning the national championship was a bit of a bittersweet moment, but his team wrote a letter to Justin Trudeau, and earlier this week, he was granted a temporary resident permit, sparking this reaction from happy teammates. Dio arrived in Williamsport this morning. And you saw he had a pretty good start to the game, but we do have a final score in, and I regret to inform you that Team Canada did lose tonight's game to Latin America. 8-3 was the score, so the team didn't do so hot. But that's not the end of the story for them. They do have another game coming up tomorrow. That's against Spain. It is do or die. They have to win that game. If they lose the game, they're out. But hey, they might win, and even if they lose, they're playing on the world stage, which is incredible for them. So they win either way. That's the National for this August 17th. Have a great night.